Hello everyone. I know I haven't posted in a while, and I know I kind of said I would post more often, but I'm going to alter my original quote-unquote promise to say that I'm going to aim for 2 videos a month, because I have kind of a lot going on in my life right now, and that might still be too much, so we'll see. But anyway, this week I'm posting, and I'm also not going to promise when I'm going to post them. I think I'll just post when I can. So I'm trying to keep to a schedule is not really possible right now. So anyway, so what do I have now? 7 subscribers. Thank you all to you wonderful people. Please continue to share these videos if you like them so that I can be motivated to make more and to improve my supreme lack of skill. Okay. Also, if you have any local to South Texas true crime stories that you know about, leave them in the comments and I'll look into them. Thank you for being awesome. Last week, we went over the scandalous story of the Hotel Emma. Remember all the craziness with the 3 freaking Emmas and the affairs? Not so. Okay, so today's story I got from my father, who is a retired nurse. He and my mom both worked for many years at University Hospital, which is kind of the county hospital here in town. And they have some interesting stories about criminals and alleged criminals that they have treated. Well, this guy we're talking about today is Leopoldo Narvaiz Jr. He's kind of a piece of work, let me tell you. Oh, disclaimer, which, I mean, it should go without saying, but this video contains adult language, description of violence, specifically murder, and is not really meant for children. Viewer/listener discretion is advised. Okay, so Leopoldo, aka Leo, was born March 13th, 1968 in Bexar County, Texas. As a 16-year-old, he began dating Shannon Mann, who was 13 at the time. According to Leo, the two had an on and off relationship for several years until February of 1988, when Shannon officially ended their relationship. Leo was not particularly happy about this, and he proceeded to harass Shannon and even terrorize her and her family for months to follow. March 27th, 1988, Leo showed up at her house on Formosa Street and found her seated in the truck of her new boyfriend, Ricky Moore. He demanded to speak with her, but she refused. I mean, rightly so. She dumped his ass, so hello, move on, buddy. He became increasingly belligerent, so Shannon and Ricky drove away. When they returned sometime after midnight, Leo showed up again carrying a knife and a pipe. Shannon and Ricky retreated inside of her house and called the police, while Leo went about bashing in the windows of Ricky's truck. Shannon's mom went out to confront him, telling him to leave her alone. She clearly didn't want anything to do with him. And of course, what is this toxic bastard's response? If I can't have her, no one can. Great guy, really. Aces. He ended up leaving before the police arrived, and apparently they really didn't do much follow-up, because what happened next is a few days pass after this incident, and Leo shows up at the Formosa Street house again and breaks in. It wasn't really clear if Shannon or her family were home at the time, but Shannon, her mom, her one younger and one older sister, and younger brother all moved to a mobile home off of South Zarzamora. I wish that had made a difference. But as we know, this is a crime story, so shit is about to go down. April 14th, Leo goes to a party about 2 miles from Shannon's new home. He leaves the party early in the morning on April 15th. At 3:17 a.m. on April 15th, police receive a 911 phone call from Shannon Mann, who says, "My boyfriend just beat us up. He's killed my little sister." Moments later, a second voice can be heard, later identified as Leo Narvaiz, who asked Shannon, "Why did you have to do this to me?" Shannon responded, I love you. I love you. I'm dying already. I can't breathe. Just before the line went dead, Leo is heard asking, "Did you call the cops?" So around 3:30 a.m., police arrived on the scene. The house appeared dark and quiet from the outside, a stark contrast for the absolute carnage that they would discover inside. Shannon Mann, her sisters, Jennifer, 19, Martha, age 15, and her 11-year-old brother Ernest Jr. were all found dead with multiple stab wounds all over their bodies. Some reports claimed that the bodies were so mangled that they assumed they were all female. The official stab count was 6 stab wounds on Shannon's body, 23 on Jennifer's, 9 on Martha's, and, I'm sorry, holy shit, 63 on little Ernest's. Jesus. Okay. So around 6:30 a.m., 3 hours later, Shannon's father, Ernest Sr., arrived at the mobile home and became absolutely enraged. I mean, obviously, all his children are dead. I cannot even imagine. He blamed the cops for their death and said, "This is all your fault. I told you Leo would do this." Personal commentary. I know there's a lot of debate going around about police work and the role that they should play in the justice system and whatnot, but to me it just seems so rare that police are able to actually stop crimes from happening, you know? Like, I know they arrested this guy and everything, but the damage was already done, and he'd proven himself to be dangerous and unhinged already, so I don't know. I definitely think that there are flaws in the system, to say the least. So, as I said, Leo gets arrested. He ends up getting arrested at the same house where the party was held later that morning. He had cuts on his legs, he had scratches all over his torso and shoulders and chest and arms. He also had blood on the jeans and shoes that he had worn the previous day. After his arrest, Leo wrote a statement. It's really long, and I don't really care too much about what he had to say, so I'm just going to hit the high points. He claims that Shannon was still contacting him after they broke up, but not necessarily always talking to him. Sometimes she would just call him, and then she would use the buttons on the phone to respond to his questions. Like, he said that if he would ask a question, like, she would push 1 for yes or 2 for no. He said that she changed her number, so it sounds to me like maybe she was trying to get over him, but maybe it was harder than she thought it would be. I mean, you hear all the time about how hard it is to get out of abusive relationships, and I mean, it just sounds like at the very least, their relationship was unhealthy at best. He also said that after their breakup, he began using cocaine. Remember back in my first episode that psychologist said that drugs and alcohol account for a large number of violent crimes? Yep, that's what he was talking about, because sure enough, Leo was high on cocaine when he attacked Shannon and her siblings. Some reports stated he was drunk as well, although he didn't include that in his personal statement. He did say that he doesn't remember stabbing them and that the whole thing was a blur. But it doesn't freaking matter, my dude. 4 freaking people died. It was all your fault. All because of you. He concluded his statement saying that he felt bad and that it would never happen again. Wow. Awesome. Okay, so fast forward a few months. On November 23rd, 1988, Ernest Sr., the father of the 4 children, got himself arrested on charges of theft. He'd gone around neighborhoods stealing stuff from people's yards, and the reason that he did all of this, he was hoping to get inside of the prison to kill Leo himself. I mean, obviously a very ill-conceived plan from a grieving father, and it wouldn't have made a difference because Leo had already been transferred to death row in Huntsville, Texas, but I mean, I kind of get it, you know, he lost everything. At the time of his arrest, Leo was only 20 years old. A little over 10 years later, he was executed by lethal injection on June 26, 1998, at the age of 30. Now, this is sort of interesting because it happens to be my dad's birthday, and fun fact, My dad treated him as a patient after his arrest. So this story kind of reminds me of those episodes of medical dramas where like people come in with like Nazi tattoos or something like that, and the Black and Jewish doctors have to treat them and they have to uphold the Hippocratic Oath and whatnot. But apparently my dad was going to start his IV, but another female nurse insisted on doing it instead. She apparently showed no mercy. She grabbed the largest gauge IV needle that she could find, and she was not gentle with him. Now, I don't condone this behavior, but I get it. According to my dad, Leo complained that it hurt. I mean, you stabbed 4 people, mostly kids. I don't feel bad if I'm honest. Now, I don't particularly agree with capital punishment because it's been proven to be expensive due to the appeals process and whatnot, and also government-sanctioned murder doesn't really sit right with me, but regardless, this is Texas and what's done is done. Leo was not a good person, and he ruined a lot of people's lives. He ended the lives of 4 young people, caused undue grief and torment to their parents and loved ones for years to come. He sucks. Anyway, so here's the part where I honor the victims. I don't know much about the kids, and I want to honor Shannon for her attempts to end a relationship that was toxic and unhealthy and trying to move on with her life. She deserves to be honored for that. But the main victim that I want to honor is Ernest Sr., who just wanted to protect and avenge his children. His methods were flawed, driven by grief and anger, but like I said, I get it. So today's calligraphy piece is a quote about a father's love, and I hope he was able to find some way to find some peace in his life. I hope for a future where we can rely on authorities to better protect people who are at risk of violent crimes like Shannon and her siblings. We need to do better when it comes to intervening when people like Leopoldo Narvaiz show their true colors. Maybe he needed help, I don't know, but he shouldn't have been walking around free to smash windows, break into houses, and eventually stab 4 people to death in a blind and jealous rage. I hope that you found this story interesting, as weird as that sounds, and I hope to see you back here in a few weeks. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with any true crime fans that you may know. Remember to live well, please don't stab anyone, have a wonderful weekend. Bye!